what do you think about the conflict between editors and bloggers? Is there a conflict? Is there space for all of us, or is this just a non-issue?
I mean, there is this great Dave Eggers quote sort of talking about like online and the death of news media, and he said this really great thing, which is that people assume that one existing means that the other can't, and it's just not true. I think each one needs to figure out what it does best, and then just maximize on their potential, you know. Bloggers are speedy, but I still buy magazines because I love editorials and I love certain things that blogs still can't offer right now. So I think there's definitely space for both.
And what do you think?
I agree. There's this nostalgia with print editing and traditional media that I connect with very much as she does, and I feel like, you know, people think that, as she said, you can't have one without the other, but I feel that, you know, we have to change the way we think, because social media has been changing everything about the way and how we function, and I feel that our perceptions need to change as well. Otherwise, you know, there will always be like this perception that there is a conflict, and actually, you know, it's just bloggers trying to express their style and editors trying to do their job.
Tell us, what do you think about, is there a conflict between editors and bloggers and how they're being treated or portrayed in the media?
I think there is a conflict, but I don't think that there has to be. I work in advertising and marketing in my day job, and I see the value of both. I'm actually working on a blogger outreach program right now for the brands that I represent. So I use a traditional publication to talk to mass communication, but I want to work with bloggers to create a more intimate conversation and hear back directly from them. I don't think there has to be a conflict, but I think there needs to be maybe some more respect, especially on traditional media side, especially as this industry grows. I know there's some growing pains, but I think some of the accusations that bloggers are kind of paid by getting front row access and things that are a little unfounded and a little unfair, and I see just as much, it might just be like a hand washing on the other side too, when you send things to be reviewed or pay for advertising, being in the advertising arena. I know for a fact that we get better coverage from a PR standpoint, from a press standpoint, when we buy ads. So I don't think that that's true on either side.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you feel that there's a conflict between editors and bloggers nowadays with social media, or do you feel that there's space for everybody? What do you think?
I mean, I think there's space for everybody. I think it's more the media actually making a conflict of something that isn't there. And the one thing that bothers me is when people say that bloggers can be bought, and people like Tabby are never going to write a bad review of a collection. I mean, maybe if she hated something, she wouldn't even write about it. But the thing is, I've worked in magazines before for the last 4 years, and I know how much, I hate to say this even, maybe it's a secret, but I know how much of it is fake. So I know I've worked on segments where people say we have to feature this product in our beauty awards because it's an advertisement. So when people say that, we can be bought or influenced by money, I say it right back in magazines.
Because magazines actually get sponsored.
Yeah,
by bloggers.
They're the ones getting way more money, when it's $1 million ad contract, and if they don't feature such and such shampoo, the advertiser's going to be mad. The advertiser's not going to care if a blogger doesn't like the product. There's a million other bloggers that probably do.
Okay. Thank you so much.
I think there's space for everyone as long as we're treated equally.
Okay.
And I come from both backgrounds, so I think that there's definitely value in both, and that as long as designers and brands acknowledge that and realize that, instead of kind of making bloggers number two, I think that the playing ground will be level. So it's just a matter of time. It hasn't happened yet.
And what do you think?
I agree, kind of similarly. Like, things change, technology changes. Like, it went from like CD and people hardly even, CDs are like becoming something called MP3s, but it's just stuff is always changing. But I feel like it's not changing that much, it's just evolving.
Do you feel that there is enough recognition getting, or it's only a few people that are getting the recognition? And
I feel like it's like kind of starting to become recognized, like more so.
Like, for example, when you send a request for an invite, do you feel that, it's easier than before to get an invite to a show, or it's...
I think it just just depends. I don't think that there's been a dramatic change yet, so there's still time. But I think that, I've seen more bloggers being quoted in magazines, and I think that's starting to start the trend of, acknowledgement of like what a powerful medium online is and how it's so accessible to so many people worldwide.
Perfect. Thank you.
Not really being treated equally. I think there is some kind of snobbery, to the general public who are creating these fashion blogs and writing about what inspires them. But I think, we should be given more of a voice and more of an opportunity to sort of cover fashion firsthand, like the editors do. Because they're getting paid to do it, but we're doing it for free. So it's out of genuine passion that we're doing it.
And there's been articles about that bloggers can easily be bribed or given gifts, and that influences their opinion. Do you think that's true? Have you been experiencing anything like that?
I do get offered things, but there's a lot I have to say no to, because I try and stay, I try to have integrity and to cover things that I'm passionate about, and things that are relevant to my blog. So as long as you have some kind of integrity, there shouldn't really be a conflict. Yeah, and editors, they're giving stuff all the time. Like magazine people, they're getting bags of freebies and they're writing about it. I think there's far more of a conflict there.
I don't know if that there is necessarily a conflict. I mean, there's obviously certain different opinions, I guess, on the whole issue. I feel like bloggers certainly bring in another perspective, probably a more real perspective, just a regular gal on the street going into a show and just giving her opinion on what she thinks, whereas editors are probably more, they have to use maybe a different kind of language because they're writing for print or for bigger magazines. I like to see the perspective of bloggers personally, just because, again, they're just regular people, and it's great to hear their opinions and what they have to, say about collections and things like that. I don't necessarily think there's a conflict. You've got different opinions. I think people like to hear them.
And are all bloggers treated equally, or they're different?
Well, I mean, if you have been blogging for a number of years, you probably have a little bit more of, you have more recognition. You probably get into shows easier than maybe the, startup bloggers. Maybe there's some sort of conflict between, conflict from that standpoint. But, it's like if you've been blogging, you've worked hard for it, I think. It's just like any other job.
Perfect. And do you find that you're getting invited to more shows, or it's easier for you to get invited?
Well, actually, this is my first fashion show or fashion week ever, so it's certainly been quite interesting to be able to work with Dee from TheGreyestGhost Enid. She's been doing this for, I guess, a couple seasons, so she already knows a lot of people. So I've been able to go to the shows with her. Going forward, I'll certainly try to, reach out to companies and see if I can get invited. But so far, it's been a great experience, so I really have no complaints.